Hey everyone, thank you for stopping by this week's new live show. Another episode of What Am I Watching and What Am I Playing? Well, first off, before I start the episode, I did want to give a little nod to Dick Miller, the actor who has been in like a billion films, most primarily known for Walter Paisley and Bucket of Blood, but he also did Terminator, he also did Gremlins, he was in Chopping Mall. I could go on and on and on about all the movies he's done, but he passed away this last week, and I just kind of wanted to give him a little nod and thanks for all the movie watching, because, he was always a fun character actor for sure. And, I'm going to miss seeing him in a billion other films. They actually have a documentary that came out called That Guy, Dick Miller. So if you ever want to see exactly all the stuff he's done and like how many movies and just how long he's done stuff, that's a great way to just kind of get a nice highlighted look at his career. So I'm here to talk about a couple things. If you've seen the title card, I'm going to be talking about Scooby-Doo and the Curse of the 13 Ghosts. And I'm also going to be talking about some of my early play experiences with Kingdom Hearts 3. I've been playing it on PlayStation 4. If you haven't had a chance to check that out, I highly recommend it. It's, 13 years, it's hopefully got to be great, right? But it is, fortunately, and that's always, I have been playing, and I'll share a little bit of my experiences here. So I kind of figured that this would be the best way to talk about everything that's going on, because right now, just the way things are going, I'm kind of getting ready for a move, and then there's a billion other things I want to review right now, and I've still got old archive things that I've got like in the back burner that I want to talk about. I've been shooting a couple short videos, if you may have noticed, everything from about the new Ghostbusters movie that's coming out next year to Mortal Kombat 11, which I'm personally excited for. All that's coming out, and there's a lot of stuff coming out, and I feel like I'm kind of torn between covering the things that I want to do, covering the things that are coming up and I want to talk about, and then certainly there's a billion things, and I feel like I'm just putting out a number of short videos, and I still want to get into Serial Saturdays, which will be my animated segment that I'll be working on soon. So that's coming. I got to do a couple changes on the title card, me being picky. But I kind of want to step up the production value soon. I'm in moving hell right now, so I just haven't had the time to really devote to everything I've wanted to do, but I'm getting there and I'm thinking about it, and hopefully you'll be seeing the results in the next couple weeks. And then there's Pensacon at the end of this month too, so I'm going to be busy. So I wanted to talk a little bit about Scooby-Doo and the Curse of the 13 Ghosts. This came out 2 days ago, and if you remember, back in 1985, there was the Saturday morning cartoon based on similar name, 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo. It was the last of the long-running Scooby-Doo series from 1969 all the way up to 1985. Scooby-Doo ran constantly, so that was, God, what? I'm mathing horrible right now. That's like what? 14 years? About? No, that's wrong. Sorry, I'm mathing and I'm probably failing. Anyway, 1969, 1985. I can't do the math at the moment. I think it's 14 years. It's gonna drive me nuts. But anyway, no, I can't think about it. All right, sorry. I'm trying to think. But anyway, the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo was the last of the standard running Scooby-Doo series before they rebooted it just like shortly after with a pup named Scooby-Doo, and that's a whole other thing. Anyway, if you remember the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo, it was where they were where the Scooby Gang always chased after guys who were, hanging out at the old abandoned theme park, or wanting to sell off their land, or wanting to scare people off their land, or whatever. It was always guys in masks, or sometimes girls in masks, depending on what segment series that they were doing. But it was always human. All their great monsters and ghosts were always human, with complex gimmickry and everything else that Scooby-Doo is known for. The 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo shook it up a little bit, and they were actually ghosts. Scooby and Shaggy opened up a chest containing 13 of the worst ghosts known to humanity that ever scourged the earth, and now, because they did that, it was their goal to go out and recapture the 13 ghosts. It was Daphne, Scrappy-Doo, and a huckster kid they found along the way in the first episode called Flim Flam. And they made it 13 episodes. It was 1 year, and they captured 12 of the ghosts, and they never got the 13th one. And this ended up being a sequel I never knew I wanted. So when they announced it last year, I was like, all right, I got to check it out. Because Scooby-Doo is one of my old school favorite properties from back in the day. That and the Flintstones are probably my two big Hanna-Barbera favorites. So if you haven't, because the Scooby-Doo movies have actually been fun, the animated ones anyway. If you haven't checked out Scooby-Doo and Batman Brave and the Bold, that's another one I'd highly recommend. That one's a lot of fun. But so this one picks up, it's a couple years later, but apparently Daphne and Shaggy and Scooby are reunited with Fred and Velma, as they have been for a while now. And they messed up one of their recent cases. It was another person in a mask, and they blamed the wrong person. And because of that, the police told them they need to retire. So they did, and they started selling off all their stuff. Well, along the way, during one of the sales items uncovered was this crystal ball that they used to, Daphne and Shaggy and Scooby used to communicate with Vincent Van Gogh, who was back in the original show was voiced by Vincent Price, which was pretty awesome. And then in this new series, it's Maurice LaMarche, who has done a number of voice acting stuff, everything from The Brain and Pinky and the Brain, Egon Spengler, on and on and on. He does a great Orson Welles from The Critic, if you ever remember that old show with John Lovitz. Yes, Rosebud Frozen Peas. Yeah, I tend to Orson Welles a lot of things. It's bad. It's really bad, and I have no excuses for my behavior. But anyway, this picks up. Vincent Van Gogh has been looking for his trio of crime fighters, and he needs their help finally after all this time tracking down that final 13th ghost so they can finally put that whole saga to rest. Of course, Fred and Velma weren't involved with that, and they're skeptical because all they've ever done is dealt with guys in masks. And now that Daphne and Shaggy and Scooby are telling them, no, ghosts are real, and we faced 12 of the worst ones that ever existed. So they're skeptical, but they go off, they go find Vincent, and they go back to the Himalayas where everything started. So there's a couple changes. I don't want to do a whole play-by-play of the entire plot line, but it's basically, Daphne's in charge, which she was in the original cartoon. One of the things I was kind of sorry they didn't even hint at was, and they confirmed this a couple years later, that it was kind of interesting because Daphne and Shaggy were kind of a thing. I know that Fred and Daphne are usually the two token couple, let's go split up and Daphne and I will go off here while you three go do your thing. But that wasn't even mentioned here, so that was kind of a bummer. Flim Flam is there, and the Scooby-Doo franchise right now is just flat out pretending that Scrappy-Doo does not exist, because they go as far as completely cutting him out of all the flashbacks, and when he is referenced once near the end, everyone's like, what's a Scrappy? So they really have a severe hate on for Scrappy-Doo. I never personally liked the character, but I don't get the hate. And then, of course, you have Velma, who's been very much a skeptic, and then Fred, who is feeling a little off because he is not the leader in this case. It was Daphne, and she takes charge and kind of adopts an outfit, kind of a purple jumpsuit, similar but not the same to the one she wore in the cartoon. And so they go on this great big quest trying to track down this 13 ghost Asmodeus. And they go through all these things. And as I said, I don't want to spoil all the plot lines in case you're interested to see how it resolves. It had a couple of things I really liked. It was a lot of fun callbacks, especially with Vincent Van Gogh and all the bad ghoul, ghost, dead, tombstone puns. It just went over the top at one point. It was so bad and so drawn out that it turned around. It was really funny. As I said, they don't reference Scrappy. He doesn't exist. Flim Flam is in it for sure. He's grown up now, which is, again, this is supposed to be a couple years where he's like a little kid. Now he's like a grown young adult. So that was kind of funny. Some of the things I didn't like about it, they did step away from a lot of the whole the premise of the 13 Ghosts. And Weird and Bogle, the two ghost henchmen that were always causing trouble for Scooby and the gang, they aren't here. They aren't even mentioned. I don't know why. For something that, you know, is the gang's chance to face a real ghost in this continuity, because there's been a bunch. They get a chance to face real ghosts, and the two ghost henchmen that usually cause all the problems in the series aren't there when they were such a focal point, which it's a little of a weird choice. Also, there were a couple things I don't know. It was some weird changes. Daphne, as I mentioned, was the leader, and you know, they definitely, you know, went back to that, like Shaggy knew how to fly and all these weird skills that Fred and Velma never knew that existed within their friends. All this stuff kind of came back out, and that was really funny. Daphne seemed almost super heroic. It's like she went from regular Daphne in the first few minutes of the film to like this super heroic, right down to the Marvel flip leap poses where she like hits the ground like that. And she doesn't even so much as lose her footing in anything. She's almost like too super heroic perfect. I don't know why they couldn't, you know, with everyone else running and flailing, it was kind of funny or weird to me just that I don't have a problem with her in the sense of, you know, being in charge like she always was in that series, but at the same time, it's just kind of weird that she had like super heroic powers and was like instantly kind of just changed when she got back into the jumpsuit. It was, and then they tried to do some weird compensation with Fred about that, and it was a little cringy. It was a little cringy. Some of the ideas of what Fred was doing during the summer, where everyone was off in the Himalayas and around the world, was. I know they tried to make it funny, and it could have been funny, except that it wasn't, and it just it was unfortunate. But you know, what can you do? So. Oh, I have two people in the crowd. Hi, everybody. I don't know who's hanging out with me. You're certainly welcome to say hi or ask questions if you want to. I am certainly more than up to chatting with you guys. But actually, do I have my chat up? Hold on. Hang with me just a second. Live chat. Okay. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's like it went from top chat to live chat. Goddamn foreign cars. Nice. Howdy do. Hey guys, sorry about that. I didn't even see your messages. Weird. Thanks YouTube for changing the chat setting on that and not letting me know when it's been the same way every other one. All right, so you guys are there. I was wondering, it's like, God, you guys are quiet. I must be really engrossing, which I'm flattered, but I don't think that was the case. Let me say hello. All right, so would I recommend the Scooby-Doo and the Curse of the 13 Ghosts? Yeah, I would. It was fun. It was an interesting closure, and I kind of wish they had done a couple different things. I wish they had kind of been a little bit more certain about the ghosts are real in this version of Scooby-Doo. But I had fun. It was kind of just, as I said, it was the conclusion I never knew I wanted, 34 years later, 35 years later. It was just I'd forgotten about it, honestly. I just kind of go back and forth on there's been like a million Scooby-Doo shows since then. Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated is probably my most favorite and recent of all the Scooby-Doo incarnations that they've done, because that was really funny and well done. But, so yeah, I'd recommend it. Just be prepared. There were a couple changes in there that didn't quite jive. I wish that if they were really going to double down on this conclusion like they claimed to, they had stuck a little bit more to the premise and the characters of 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo. I don't think Fred and Velma were unwelcome additions, but I just kind of wish that they had been dragged into the adventure a little better, because the whole let's split up gang thing didn't work as well as it could have, I thought. So, but it was fun, and I'm nitpicking about a kid's cartoon. But, it is what it is. The audience for it would probably be in their 30s and 40s anyway. So it's a kid's cartoon, but it's also meant for an older generation of grown-up kids. So that is that on that. So The other thing I wanted to talk about is what I am playing right now, and that is Kingdom Hearts 3. And that has been a long road waiting for the final third installment without all the different side quests and prequels and sidequels and ones with decimals and fractions and point marks. And Square Enix comes up with some of the most complex titles known to humanity when it comes to naming their games. And Kingdom Hearts is no different, except for this one. It's straight Kingdom Hearts 3, no subtitle, nothing. And the last Kingdom Hearts official title was Kingdom Hearts 2 back in 2006. So it's been 13 years since we've had an official numbered Kingdom Hearts title, outside of all the sidequels, prequels, decimals, and everything else that goes with it. So it's kind of funny in the sense that, sorry guys, my nose is a little itchy tonight. I don't know what's going on with that. It's kind of interesting. You really think about what's going on since Kingdom Hearts 2 to Kingdom Hearts 3. I've moved to 2 other states. I'm about to do another move. I've had dogs. I've lost dogs. I've gotten more dogs. I've lost parents. I've gotten engaged. I had a house. I've been on more trips. It's just kind of funny when you really think about all the stuff that has gone on from 2 to 3 and all the changes in life. It really puts it into perspective, and I don't think I've ever had a video game necessarily do that before. So that was unique. And especially, like, I've been waiting just kind of to see how part 3 starts out. And when I put the disc in, it's funny because it really brings you back to that time and that place. There are certain titles that I have a real nostalgic, sentimental attachment to, and Kingdom Hearts is one. Just because I really thought they did a great job. If you haven't played Kingdom Hearts, it's basically Final Fantasy meets Disney, and they overall do a remarkable job of really bringing back a lot of the original voice actors from all these animated and live-action movies that Disney has done since the 40s, the 30s, and there's so many just really, really great characters and scenarios, everything from Tron and Tron Legacy to Lilo and Stitch to Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Lion King, Mulan. Be right back, and if you need to switch the monitor cables and get a drink, alrighty, I will see you in a bit, Doombot. And I mean, they do a lot of titles. They go as far back as Steamboat Willie, so they go all the way up to that, and then in Kingdom Hearts 3, they go up to like Frozen and Big Hero 6. Entangled, so they go to some of the more modern editions as well. And there are only 8 Disney worlds in Kingdom Hearts 3, and initially I was a little bummed out, but then I really started looking at everything they've covered in sequels, sidequels, and the main installments, and they pretty much covered everything they possibly can, so I can understand why they have a more limited amount in this one. And initially it takes a while, because as much as I like Kingdom Hearts, I like it more for the Disney worlds and the interactions and seeing how they animate, and just hearing the voice actors and everything like that. And a lot of the side Kingdom Hearts soul focus story, I have to admit, it's very confusing to me. Sometimes I find it a little slow, and other times it's just like, come on, I want to get into it, because there's just so much complex melodrama that goes on with Kingdom Hearts. And it really started in 2, and it's just been going on and on since. And you really feel like you need like a blackboard with pieces of paper, taped to it, and strings with thumbtacks attached to it. It's so complex, especially since all the games they aren't sequential in the sense that here's the next chapter, sub-chapter, whatever. It's like, again, cycles, prequels, they just kind of throw them out randomly, and you get bits and pieces, and I haven't played through everything, and so it gets complicated, is the best way I could put it. And this Kingdom Hearts 3, I think if you aren't, they try to give tutorials, and they try to catch you up as best they can, but it's still a complex story. And there's still a lot of them just like, okay, sure, maybe this will make better sense later. And, it's interesting in that respect, and I'm enjoying it. I think that's the big thing I need to get clear across, is that I'm really enjoying it. It's a multi-console story as well. Oh, for sure. It started on PlayStation 2. It's been on Game Boy Advance, Nintendo 3DS, DS, the PSP. It skipped PlayStation 3 except for HD remasters. PlayStation 4 is when they they put out 2 other compilations of kind of everything, or at least story beats. So you're not completely screwed. But Kingdom Hearts 3 is a PlayStation 4 and Xbox One title right now. So I don't even know if they did the HD other games for Xbox One. So I kind of feel bad for them if they didn't get that. I need to check on that. But anyway, so let's talk a little bit about it. When I first put in the game, as I said, there's a nostalgic rush, and I really enjoyed seeing there's just like the music, and there's a certain feel, and just the graphics are gorgeous in it. They are just some of the nicest graphics that I've seen in a game in quite some time. They're just really well animated and fluid and expressive, and lots of great colors and shading and lighting. Everything just looks fantastic, and they really do a great job switching back and forth from all the different visual styles that Disney have had over the decades. And the first Disney world you go into is Hercules, which Hercules is one of those worlds that's been in every game. This one, I think, is probably one of the better ones. I think it's a little bit more of a combat story-oriented one than the others, and I really like what they did with it. It was a fun boss battle at the end, and I'm kind of taking my time with it to really just kind of savor it, because this is it. I don't know if this is the end of the Kingdom Hearts series as a whole, but it is definitely the whole storyline that we've been going through since 2002 and to present day. It's the end of this one. They're saying that's going to be the end of that one for sure. The world that I've gotten into recently, and I'm really taking my time, is the world based on Toy Story. And I remember when PlayStation 2 came out back in 2001, and they were saying we're finally at the generation where we have Toy Story graphics in games. And debatable. I mean, there's, obviously PlayStation 2 had some good looking games. PlayStation 3 had better looking games, and PlayStation 4 had even better looking games. When you go into the Toy Story world, it looks like a scene out of the movie. The animation is so fluid and so perfect looking to the Toy Story movies that claim that they made way back when, 18, 19 years ago, I finally feel that they have met that promise of we have finally achieved that level of graphics. All right. Hello again, Doombot. Thanks for coming back. But I think in terms of like Toy Story, it's just a beautiful looking world. They have sound alikes for Woody and Buzz. It's not Tom Hanks and Tim Allen, but they're good. They do have John Ratzenberger as Ham and Wallace Shawn as Rex, and those are fun. And they have like the music and everything else like that. And it just looks great in terms of just everything. The world's fun, and they really treat it as if, of course they do all the things where like Donald changes, Goofy, Donald, and Sora into, if the world's a little too weird, they'll kind of change them. Like in Nightmare Before Christmas, they were monstrous, and Monsters Inc. they'll be monstrous, and Pirates of the Caribbean, they're more piratey. But Toy Story, they're action figures. And apparently they're based off these super popular action figures that Rex is absolutely in love with and idolizes. And that's really fun, and that has some neat little interaction scenes. But it just, graphically, I'm just so impressed by how nice this world looks. And what's really weird is I was reading up on just, casually just kind of looking up some background information on Toy Story world. Apparently, the Toy Story adventure is canonical to the movies as well. This is actually supposed to take place between Toy Story 2 and Toy Story 3. So as far as Toy Story's movie canon is concerned, this happened within that, which I think is really interesting and surprising. Pixar worked very closely with Square-Enix to really get the look of Andy's room and the toys and everything else, and even the Monsters Inc. crew as well. And yeah, it just It looks fantastic. I'm really just impressed. But yeah, it's kind of weird to think that this little side thing has happened in the years since 2 and 3. So it's official. Who knew? But yeah, I'm having fun. I mean, there's still worlds that I'm looking forward to seeing. Obviously, Pirates of the Caribbean for personal sentimental reasons. Frozen, I'm sure she's going to break into that Let It Go song. It's not like I haven't heard that song like 80,000 times over already. Tangled should be fun. There, Monsters Inc., as I said, you go back to Winnie the Pooh. I'm trying to think what the other ones are. Big Hero 6, that should be a fun one, a nice superhero one. It's too bad they didn't put in Incredibles. That would have been a fun one. And honestly, I'm a little relieved they left all the Marvel and Star Wars stuff out. It's kind of nice to see Disney anything kind of focus on its animated properties, because Disney pushes Marvel and Star Wars so hard these days that I kind of feel like all the other stuff that they've done prior gets kind of pushed to the side more and more these days. So it's nice to see that. I'm sure if they ever continue Kingdom Hearts off into new storylines and branches and characters, I'm sure Marvel and Star Wars will work its way in there one day, and I'm sure it will look just like the movies or animated series that they'll base it on. And I'm not opposed to it. I think one of the nicest things I really enjoyed about Kingdom Hearts 3 so far is just kind of that little warm feeling that Disney Infinity gave me, because I invested a lot of time on building worlds and playing with the playsets and collecting the characters and everything like that. And, I kind of miss seeing all the little Disney stuff mix and interact. It was a lot of fun, and I was really sorry when Disney Interactive pulled the plug and then closed down shop on all their console games. So that sucked, and that was kind of a hard blow, and it's nice to see a good Disney game back on consoles again, because they made so many really cool titles, especially like in the 8 and 16-bit eras. They had a lot of really great favorites that I still enjoy playing whenever I find them. Side note, I actually did not realize until today, Steam is doing like a sale right now, like a lunar sale or whatever, and I was just casually browsing through, seeing what titles they have. I didn't realize they had The Lion King and Aladdin, the 16-bit versions, on Steam. So that's kind of cool. I'll have to pick those up later, I guess. Well, that was my experience so far with Kingdom Hearts 3. I'm just taking my time in Toy Story right now. Agreed. Now that they have to buy, they're about to buy Fox. They actually did buy Fox. That actually cleared. I think it's just a little bit of paperwork, but I've been hearing news reports that Fox people were surprised to see Mickey Mouse on their company stationery. So I think that's done. But yeah, The Simpsons have been renewed for 2 more seasons. Just thinking about seeing Homer at Disneyland or Disney World, you could see that happen. That's going to be a very weird day. And that was actually something I noticed. There's always been that joke about, Disney owns everything. And it was kind of funny. I was looking at an old Simpsons comic. I think it was from the 90s. Virgin put those out. Oh, okay. But yeah, I saw an old Simpsons comics that had like a yellow arm and it had a Mickey Mouse watch on it. And I'm like, Simpsons predicted it. Yes, yet again, they called it. But yeah, one day you could see Marge and Homer and Bart at Disney World, and that's going to be weird. For that matter, you could probably see Peter Griffin or the Alien Queen or Frankenfurter as the Disney princess or something. It's so weird to me. And Sunsoft put out a few Disney games for they put out the Beauty and the Beast ones, I know for sure. Virgin put out Aladdin for sure. That was like a co-production of like Sega and Disney Interactive and Virgin. All 3 worked together, and then Virgin and Disney worked together on The Lion King. But yeah, it's going to be weird. I don't know how I feel about the Disney merger with Fox. There comes a point where I feel like it's too much control over the media, and Disney's Disney presents a very family-friendly image, but at the same time, they're also very strict. And if something doesn't make like $1 billion per person, they pull the plug instantly on projects, which goes along with Fox, honestly. If you remember Firefly and the Sarah Connor Chronicles and a lot of other shows that Fox is notorious for pulling the plugs. Maybe they will get along just fine. But it's kind of weird to see where 20th Century Fox has all these adult movies. I mean, they have all age range, but they have a lot of adult movies as well. And it's going to be interesting to see how this fits into Disney's grand scheme. I don't ever see this on their Disney streaming service. I'm guessing probably Hulu, which they also own a majority stake in. But yeah, it's going to get weird. I think. I'm sure Simpsons will probably be more valuable to Disney as just an icon they can shop around versus a actual running television show, because they just chopped the Simpsons comics and all of the Bongo Comics imprint is gone as of a couple months ago, like 2 or 3 months ago. And that was really sad. That was kind of a fun little indie thing. I mean, they really kind of did all Matt Groening's crazy ideas, and now it's gone. I mean, the whole thing. It's not just the Simpsons comics. It's like everything, Bongo included, which sucks. I think it's too bad. And you can probably see Frodo in the background lurking over there. Come here, bud. He's hanging out with me. Come here. Oh, there we are. Yes, I know. You want to say hi to the people? Yeah, he's been hanging out with me. I think he's getting a little antsy. But yeah, it's going to be weird. It's we didn't see a lot of development for Marvel the first few years, and the same thing for Star Wars. And now, it'll probably be a few more years before we really see all the Disney interaction in 20th Century Fox. But I have a feeling when that's going to hit, it's going to be really weird, and then for future generations, this is going to be how it's always been. So that's weird too. That's going to be their normal. I guess the only really good things is that Disney now has the full rights to the original theatrical cuts of the original Star Wars trilogy. Hopefully we'll see that on a nice digital media and not just knockoff things, because George Lucas was so weird about releasing the originals that everybody wanted, and he was like, nope, I'm just going to add more stuff to it. And we'll finally see Fantastic Four, hopefully done properly now, and then X-Men will be integrated in there. Already starting on that. They're already starting to plan how they're going to fit that probably into Phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So it's going to be a lot of interesting stuff. There's definitely going to be a lot of stuff to talk about. And but yeah, it's gonna be a little weird. But yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing right now. If you guys have any interesting movie or games that you've been checking out, definitely kind of let me know. I can hang out for a few more minutes for sure. There's one game I want to check out. Well, there's two. I mean, the serious game I want to check out, Resident Evil 2, the new remaster, because that looks great, and I really liked Resident Evil 2 back in the day. There was a comment where Resident Evil 2, when it came out, was 1998, and that was the year it was set in. And now it was present day, and now it's still 1998 in the remake, and now it's in the past. That's really weird. And so that's the serious game I want to check out. The silly game I want to check out is something I saw on a YouTube channel called Previously Recorded. And it's called Frog Fractions. And if you haven't heard of that, do a little search engine on that. It's so freaking weird that I kind of want to see what the hell is up with it. And apparently it did so well that they have done a sequel. So there's something about frog fractions and the inherently insane thing that go with frogs and fractions. So maybe one day I'll actually do a live play of Frog Fractions and go down that insane rabbit hole. But anyway, I think that's basically everything that's going on right now. I'm going to be busy for the next couple weeks. I know I put out, as I said, I put out that small Ghostbusters and Mortal Kombat video. I put out Groundhog Day, and oh, hi, what do you want? What do you want? Oh, hello, hello. He's my good boy. But he kind of distracted me for a second. But yeah, so I did Groundhog Day. I've still got. Oh, we also saw Tremors, and that was another recent movie that the missus and I watched. And Tremors, still a great movie, still just tightly paced and to the point. If you haven't watched it in a while, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, the original cuts on Blu-ray. I am ready for those original cuts of the Star Wars trilogy, and I mean, I hope they go all the way back to like the original cuts, because Disney, for all my current gripes about that I've had with the things that they've done recently, they're very good on archiving and preserving their movies. And now that Star Wars is their movie, I'm hoping we'll actually see like the original theatrical cuts as they were way back then. So here's hoping. Oh, there is the specialized version. Yeah, that's about. There is a specialized version out there. If you are intrepid and feel like looking that up. But yeah, that's as good as it gets outside of an official release, which we still haven't really gotten yet. But so I've got a couple things planned. It's just until probably May. It's going to be a little. Oops, hold on a second. There you go, buddy. He wanted to jump off there. But I think until May, it's going to be a little crazy. I'll still be putting out things. I still have a couple retro remixes I meant to put out more by this time, but hey, life. It's been kind of crazy. I to be honest, I've actually been having some dental stuff lately. So if I seem kind of in the last couple of videos, that's why I haven't been feeling 100%. But I'm still putting stuff out, and I've still got a bunch of good ideas, and Dental Crisis 2019 should be done next week. Thank God. I've been keeping up with Project Blue Book on History Channel. It's good, not X-Files good, but watchable. I don't think I've ever heard of that. I haven't seen that series. I really don't watch like basic cable. Everything's been like streaming services. I know I'm like, streaming services, physical's better, and then I'm bad about actual cable that you can get packages instead of buying every channel individually. I'm a hypocrite. So but yeah, that's kind of everything. And I'll try to put out one more video before next week kicks off. It'll probably be one of my retro pieces. I still am looking forward to doing Serial Saturdays, which, as I said, is the animated side where I really talk Hell Comes to Frogtown. I heard that recently. What was that from, Hell Comes to Frogtown? I remember that, and I can't really think where that was. I made a joke about that. Damn it. Now you're going to have to tell me, because it's going to keep me up all night. But one of the Serial Saturdays, I've already got my first ideas that I want to do. I want to do a feature on the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon, which is still one of my favorite Saturday morning animated shows. And I want to do Real Ghostbusters, which is my other animated favorite. And I'll probably do other things, some of the after school shows like the Disney afternoon shows, or Batman the Animated Series, or Ninja Turtles, or He-Man. And I'm going to be covering a bunch of stuff from the 80s and 90s. And I may, depending on how things go, even though it's not really Saturday morning cartoon level stuff, I may cover more modern things like Adventure Time and even things like The Critic, which I loved The Critic. Yeah. Are you on when I said Rosebud Frozen Peas, John? I figured you would probably appreciate that reference, because I've been talking nothing about I've been actually not even nothing about it. I've been talking endlessly about Mrs. Pell's fish sticks. Oh yes, they're even better when they're raw. So yeah. God bless Maurice LaMarche as Orson Welles. That is the comedy gift that keeps on giving. He'll actually be at Pensacon this month, so I'm looking forward to seeing him. Speaking of Pensacon, they're actually having Turbo and Ozone from Breakin' and Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo at Pensacon, and How can I not do that? Maybe, yeah. Pentagon's been having a lot of cancellations lately, so hopefully they're still there. And there's also the guy, if the Last Dragon, oh God, I can't remember his name. I'm terrible right now. T-Mac. It's something like that. It's one of those one word names for the lead guy. Tamak, I think. Yeah, Tamak, because it was Vanity. No, not Timex. That's a watch. Because it was him and Vanity, so it was like battle of the one name actors in that. But that was a really fun movie as well. So they're like getting all these obscure 80s stars there, which I'm totally down for because I love all the quirky stuff. So that should be fun. And I'm looking forward to Pensacon when that all kicks off at the end of this month. So I'll be doing a little coverage on that as well. The other thing that's been going on, and I'll probably wrap it up after this, is still working on my history book, still collecting pictures, and still getting background information on the whole history of Timac. Yes, thank you. Timac was close enough, but Timac was the correct spelling of that. Hold on a sec. But yeah, that was the correct spelling. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun my last few weeks of research, especially finding out more about my hometown's local mall culture and even the video store culture, and I found some really good stuff there. So I'm pretty excited. So it'll be good. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you for those who decided to stop by and say hello. We've gone about 41 minutes, so hey, one of my longer ones, but hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed just kind of catching up. Frodo's enjoyed it, maybe. Oh, he's just sitting behind me eating his foot because that's what he does. Anyway, thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate it. I will probably have another live show in probably about 2 weeks. I'd like to get back and doing live shows every 2 weeks just because, as I said, things have been getting crazy. And as much as I'd like to gather assets, edit, and release, videos, I want to make sure that I'm doing the best ones I can, and I don't want to rush them. And I feel like I can always step up my production value, which I want to do a little bit more research on that. And yeah, I want to really step it up. So when I do a recorded video, it's going to look great and you guys will enjoy it. And once I move, I will have a better setup studio because right now my room, which fortunately you can't see, is a bit of chaos. So anyway, thank you so much. I will see you that next time. And thanks as always for checking out my latest live feed. Take care. All right. See ya.